Hey you guys, I wanted to cover this story that a subscriber had sent to me from New York, and I am so glad that she made me aware of this situation. Now, as I'm sure you guys already know, based on the title of this video, that what I'm about to discuss will be grotesque and gut-wrenching, so I do understand if you need to brace yourself for what I'm about to talk about, and I won't keep you waiting, so let's just get into this. So there is a man in New York by the name of Frank Abraqua, who might be one of the most disgusting, despicable, revolting, and nauseating persons to have been brought into existence. Now, I did some research into this person and found out that he is highly problematic, dangerous, and gross. What I'm about to do is read to you this article that will help summarize who Frank is and what Black women can do to protect themselves and their families should they come face to face with anyone who poses a threat to their livelihood in this context. Now, in the same breath, it is crucial to understand just how broken the criminal justice system is. If you guys have watched any of my videos, then you know I believe this system to be purposeful and deliberate, and it doesn't make any mistakes. It protects certain individuals who are melanin deficient and releases harmful people back out in an environment that's impoverished and without adequate resources, only to cause more destruction and chaos. But I digress because that's a completely different video. So this article starts off by saying, Frank Abraqua, 37, was jailed on Monday after being arraigned on charges of criminal mischief and harassment. Career criminal previously accused in vile feces attack is suspected of throwing a dumbbell through the window of a storage facility and making threats. Abraqua, whose record includes more than 44 arrests, is being held at Rikers Island on $15,000 bail. He's accused of threatening to take out a J-man, I won't say that word, it's a religious word, in Brooklyn last September. I'm definitely not shocked at the criminal justice system again because when it comes to their processes, it's similar to the Twilight Zone. No type of rationale or logic applies in that dimension. How in the world is it possible that this man has precarious intentions, does one of the most uncivilized acts, and is allowed to commit so many crimes without facing a steep penalty, and then facing an accusation of that magnitude still allowed to frolic amongst society? Now keep in mind, there are children, babies, and people with disabilities who exist in the same space as this man, and the system is complicit in the reinforcement of this man's behavior by not exacting a punishment that will permanently correct his actions. However, I am well aware of New York's nefarious past when it comes to proper criminal justice. From the Central Park Five to Eric Garner and so many other cases in between, we have a system in which people who are innocent are penalized, while people who have a known history of repeated offenses somehow always escape accountability or receive minimal retribution. But in some comparison to other situations like marijuana usage, petty theft, and even something ridiculous such as collecting rainwater, yes, you guys heard that right. In some states, there are restrictions in which you could be fined for collecting rainwater. These are the smaller infractions that often result in lengthy sentences. Now, what I want to show you guys is this quick stat chart that I found for New York in the month of January 2022. So it says, for the month of January 2022, New York City saw a 38.5% increase in overall index crime compared with January of 2021. 9,566 versus 6,905. Every major index crime category saw an increase for the month of January 2022, which fell by 15.2%, which was 28 versus 33. Robbery increased by 33.1%, and grand larceny increased by 58.1%. Citywide incidents increased by 31.6%, and in January 2022 compared with the same period last year. Interesting that my subscriber wanted me to cover this story because she was aware that crime is rampant in New York. And more than anything, she is concerned for not just her own safety, but the protection of her family. And when you have criminals like Frank running around, you can see how fearful anyone would be of just leaving their home. And even when these people are apprehended, there's a chance they may be let go, and who knows, the next time could be worse, and that takes away a person's peace of mind knowing that this person could come back for vengeance. And the NYPD themselves have a reputation for being corrupt, but when it carries over to the court system, they aren't any better. But that's not even the worst part. So let me just finish reading more of this article. So it says, a New York City career criminal who has been accused of smearing human waste on the face of a subway commuter only to be released back onto the streets has finally been locked up after another violent assessment. Frank Abraqua, 37, acted belligerently and was seen showing a rude hand gesture as he was led into Manhattan criminal court to be arraigned on charges of criminal mischief and harassment. He has now been sent to the notorious Rikers Island jail. Abraqua's latest alleged lawbreak is said to have tossed a dumbbell through a glass window at a Harlem storage facility on Friday, shattering a window there after making a threat towards a worker. As I mentioned to you guys earlier, this is disturbing because he just seems to exude a personality overall that's disrespectful and discourteous to those who are within his immediate vicinity. Keep in mind, these are major crimes, but it's being treated as if he just walked across the street without using the crosswalk that's designated for citizens. And I'm convinced that he's devoid of any morality, as evidenced by his recklessness and misconduct. However, this system enables the behavior by not enacting a harsher sentence. You cannot be serious that this man has been in trouble over 40 times and they haven't made him sit down for longer than a year. And I think the other situation with the rude hand gesture in court was somewhat surprising because that in itself I would think is a form of being in contempt of court. And he has no regard for innocent lives because throwing a bell into a building not even knowing if a small child or disabled person may be within range of this object never crosses his mind. But due to the narrow-mindedness and act now, think later mentality he's in possession of, it's all the more reason why he should be locked up. Now, some of you may feel the need to play devil's advocate and suggest counseling and therapy services could be the underlying cause for his erratic nature, but I would counter that argument and say that even if this were the case, no one is exempt from facing the consequences of their actions. Even now, some may come to the defense of this black man and coddle him despite him literally being a menace to society. And I'm not sure why it is that black male ego seems to be so fragile, but just so you guys know, there's no coddling that takes place here. We do establish responsibility. So moving on, the article says he was accused of violating the conditions of his supervised release related to a previous case, the stomach churning waste incident in which he was caught on video rubbing his own excrement on a woman at the East 241st Street station in the Bronx on February 21st. The vile, apparently unprovoked, attack came just 3 days after New York City Mayor Eric Adams unveiled the subway safety plan to deploy 1,000 cops to secure the crime-plagued transit system. During his arraignment on Monday, a judge set Abraqua's bail at $15,000 and ordered him to undergo a psychiatric evaluation after the barefoot defendant caused a scene in court by yelling at the top of his lungs, hurling profanities, and daring the judge to give him bail. As of Monday afternoon, the 37-year-old remained jailed at the notorious Rikers Island detention complex. He is due back in court on April 11th. Now, I couldn't imagine being in this woman's predicament. I don't know if I would vomit, be angry and enraged, or just go berserk on this guy. I think in the midst of it, I would do all three at once, and it speaks volumes about the plan to deploy a large number of law enforcement to this area. And it's like, so much for that idea, because this horrible degeneracy still happened. And for someone like him, again, I'm not shocked, but just disappointed that the judge didn't seem to take into consideration his numerous past offenses and decided that bail would be appropriate as an intermediary to the circumstance. And I have discussed a series of measures on previous videos that women can take to feel safe when they venture out. Taking a self-defense course is something I highly recommend because it is far too perilous to be carefree in today's world. And another suggestion is to buy some mace and a taser for your protection. Both of these are relatively inexpensive, and I think Amazon has both of these as a set between $25 and $30. And again, there's no such thing as being too safe, so please take whatever measures you need. If you can, travel in groups or travel with someone who is skilled in the art of self-defense. And if you have a license to carry some steel with you, that's even better. But I just want all of us to be safe in a world filled with people who have ill intentions, because these incidents can happen quickly in the blink of an eye. And for my subscribers who are in NYC, I'm sure some of you rely on using a transit system for transportation. And I understand how difficult it can be to navigate and maneuver these spaces due to the limited space. But I do urge you to be extra careful, because these small enclosures leaves you in proximity to be pickpocketed. Ultimately, my objective with this video again, is just to help spread awareness and make you guys become privy to the reality of what is taking place and how you can protect yourselves from these imminent dangers and threats. But I hope that this was informative, and I want to thank my NYC subscribers so much for bringing this to my attention. I hope you don't mind that I kept you anonymous, but it's only for your safety and security. But make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and share this video, please, and let me know what you think about these very troubling times, and I'll see you in the next video.